Hey everybody, this is Kohdok here, and as you can guess, we're going to be talking about some of the new Pokemon toys. If you somehow have no idea what Pokemon is, where have you been for the past decade?
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
Pokemon is the term used to refer to a bunch of creatures that are used by people called Pokemon trainers to participate in battles. There are about 600 of them at this point. They were a real hit at the turn of the millennium and have remained profitable since then. Now, Pokemon toys have been made for a while, but the big news about them is that Jakks Pacific is no longer the North American license for Pokemon. It has now switched back to Tomy. Believe me when I say this is a good thing. Tomy is kind of the international standard when it comes to Pokemon toys. They basically make all of the Pokemon toys, except for the ones made by Bandai and Banpresto. Well, a lot of bands there. But yeah, Tomy made a lot of the original toys that came out in the past, and since Tomy can make some pretty incredible toys in my book, I think that's definitely a step forward. Although I have to admit, I have to confess, that Jakks Pacific definitely had their moments, like with Kirlia here. They did have the occasional really good design that you don't find in Japanese places, but the thing is, a lot of the Jakks Pacific designs were kind of expensive, and were often on par with the kinds of toys you can get inside a Happy Meal. The return to Tomy means a return to competitive standards like the kinds found in Japan. Like we have these nice, large, well-stuffed plushes rather than the little limp ones you get from Jakks Pacific or the expensive ones that have electronics crammed into them. The Tomy figures are smaller, but they're also cheaper, coming in packs of 2, 3, and 4 for $7, $10, and $15 respectively, with the $15 4-packs tending to include one of the larger legendary Pokemon. They also have this kind of funny new little invention I call the Popemobile, which is a Pokeball with car wheels on it, and what it does is you wind it up and you send it flying at a Pokemon on a stand. The fun part is that when it actually catches the Pokemon, the ball closes, the button gets pushed, and it actually reverses gear and comes back to you. So it's a cast and return Pokeball. That's just kind of an interesting novelty. I haven't really seen anything like that before. Imagine if you could like deliver a business card or a homework project this way. And then there are the large legendary figures, featuring Zekrom and Reshiram from Pokemon Black and White, and the 2 varieties of Kyurem found in Black 2 and White 2. They don't really have much articulation, mostly in the legs and the tail, but the detail is certainly superb and the kind of thing you tend to expect from Tomy. So yeah, that's more the Tomy brand, a bigger return to collectability that the Pokemon series is so much known for, rather than all the action and expensive stuff that Jakks Pacific tried to do. Now, making toys of the starter Pokemon and legendary Pokemon is fine, but why do these companies seem to have this fascination with making copies of all these bargain bin Pokemon that you get tired of encountering 5 minutes into the game rather than the Pokemon that people actually use? Now, a lot of it tend to be Pokemon that are used in the TV show. That's why in the Diamond and Pearl era we had so many toys for Croagunk, but we couldn't find anything for Garchomp? I mean, Garchomp is only the signature Pokemon of one of the most popular characters ever? Keep in mind that the TV show is a small part of a very large franchise and exists to show off the variety of the Pokemon, not just the select few that the characters use from time to time. I'd like to see toys of shiny Pokemon too. Shiny Pokemon are Pokemon with a different color variation from the normal species and occur about 1 in every 8,000, which makes them very special and hard to find even in the games. As a result, shiny Pokemon tend to be very prized by people who tend to find and catch them. I remember 7 minutes into my playthrough of Pokemon Sapphire, I encountered a shiny Zigzagoon. Now, Zigzagoon is one of those vendor trash Pokemon I was talking about before, but because this Zigzagoon was shiny, I actually went and caught it and used it throughout my game, and I still have it under the name Linoon Mark II as my chief item thief. Now, I probably wouldn't have given that Pokemon the time of day if it hadn't been shiny. That is just how much of an effect shininess has on a Pokemon's value. That is why I think that toys of shiny Pokemon would be popular. I mean, you don't have to make them 1 in 8,000 rare. I mean, like, maybe 1 random shiny Pokemon per case would probably work fairly well, and that would be a good enough demand, and it should be fairly easy to implement. I mean, it uses the same molds, the same patterns, the same designs, you're just changing the color, and I think that would be fairly easy to do. While Tomy does make some great stuff, I still think that there's a large and stable enough fan base that other companies could promote their Pokemon products too. For example, Bandai has these these little finger puppet Pokemon that can sell for pretty cheap and I think are absolutely adorable, and of course, I've been praising Banpresto's plushes for a long time. Of course, one of the things I'm really looking forward to are toys of the greatest starter Pokemon ever, Chikorita! Wait, what are you talking about? What do you mean Chikorita's not the best Pokemon starter ever? You know what? Chikorita's wearing a wolf or a hat! Your argument is invalid!